Izzy shouted. "Rabbit, rabbit, 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 rabbit!" She bunny-hopped beside Rigel all the way back to the cabin. "Hare, not rabbit," Lila would have said. She had a degree in biology and could be picky about that stuff. "Hare, rabbit, it's the same thing." That's what Bear would have said. Rigel didn't correct Izzy. She swatted one of Izzy's sunshine yellow braids instead, and Izzy laughed and whirled away. Her real name was Iris, but that name only got used when she was in trouble. They had a good-sized cabin, 10 logs high, with 2 rooms. There was one window on each side of the front door, and the door and window trim were painted red. The red was pretty against the weathered brown logs, and there was a bench under each window where you could sit on nice days. The dried head of a northern pike was nailed to the cabin door, jaws spread open to show all of its long, sharp teeth. Wilfred Thompson, one of Bear's old hunting buddies from Fort McPhee, had put that up when the Harman family moved out here. He told them not to take it down, and they never touched it. Willow was sitting on a bench with a stack of her magazines. She'd already read them all and torn out pictures for the collages she liked to make, but it seemed like she could always look through them just one more time. She turned a page. "You're my hero. I'm so sick of moose." They were all sick of moose by the end of winter. Moose soup, moose stew, moose pot pie, moose burger gravy on rice. Usually they would be getting more fresh meat and fish by this time, but everything was messed up in their house, and had been since Christmas. Rigel wondered if she could go inside. She'd like to leave the hares for Lila and wash her hands with warm water and soap. She needed to clean the rifle. And she would have liked a little snack and a mug of tea. She was hungry after the long hours of walking, looking for hare tracks, kicking at scrub, and waiting for startled hares to pop out from under the brush. But the cabin door was closed. "Yeah," Willow said. She must have seen where Rigel was looking. "Lila said to go play out for a while, said she needed to talk to Bear." Rigel and her sisters called their parents by their first names. They always had. It was one of their father's notions. "Do you know what's going on?" Rigel asked. "No clue, but Lila got another SAT call this morning, so maybe it had something to do with that." Their satellite phone was supposed to be reserved for business or emergencies. Its minutes cost a lot, and it wasn't easy to charge either, given that they were off the grid and had no electricity. Until this past winter, Rigel had never seen her mom on the satellite phone for more than a minute or two. But lately, Lila was taking it out into the cabin entryway where she could have some privacy, and chatting on it for half an hour at a time. "I'm hungry," Rigel grumbled, throwing herself down on the bench. "I am too." Willow opened her magazine again. "Taylor Rock Snapchat," a headline shrieked in big pink letters. Who was Taylor? And what was Snapchat? Probably some TV show, Rigel guessed. If Willow were in a better mood, Rigel would have asked her, but she could tell by Willow's quick flipping of pages that she was nervous, and when Willow was nervous, she got cranky. Better leave her alone. Rigel rested her back against the cabin wall and closed her eyes. Rigel's folks had always fought now and then, but Rigel could remember when their arguments were about important things, like how many trap lines to run, or whether to buy a second snow machine. She wasn't sure when those arguments had gotten hotter and more frequent. It happened gradually, the way a full tea kettle heats up until it's red hot and whistling furiously. By last fall, Bear and Lila were fighting about anything. They could argue for 2 hours about how many rows of carrots to plant in the garden. The last, biggest, and dumbest argument had been on Christmas Eve about whether to have blueberry pie or spice cake for Christmas dinner. Lila ended up making pie and Bear cake. The grown-ups did their baking without speaking, which wasn't easy in the cabin's tight quarters. On Christmas Day, they still weren't talking, and Rigel had made sure to have a slice of each dessert to avoid taking sides.